All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to Headline Hits with LW. It is Thursday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day of 2022. Let's hop right into the headline hits because there's some unique things that I wanted to talk about this morning. So, check this out. Florida State Representative Anthony Sabanti, Congress must launch investigation into criminal psychopath Fauci. Now, we've been asking where is Dr. Flip Flop and lion ass Fauci for quite a few weeks here at LWN. Where is this guy? I don't know. There's all kinds of, I guess, theories out there, but the Florida State Representative, who hopes to be part of the solution as the Republicans aim to take over Congress, said that first priority needs to involve a complete and total investigation into the criminal psychopath, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Speaking to Breitbart News during an annual Conservative Political Action Conference, which is the CPAC in Florida, in Orlando, the GOP congressional candidate said that Republican led Congress would first need to prioritize holding Anthony Fauci accountable for his actions. Now, we've talked about this many times on LWN. And if you go to LWN Podcast over on Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon Music, me and John Esterbrooks has done many episodes. I think we're up to about 10 now episodes on understanding the vacation awareness and what's going on in our world, what's happened. We talk about all the numbers. We talk about the people that have been hurt and worse than that. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of information coming to surface. And this is just another one of those headlines where what's going to happen with this? Are they actually going to do something about it? And if they do, man, hallelujah, this guy needs to pay for what he's done to this country and the world. And I think it's about high time that he's held accountable for it. So let's hit the next headline. Let's talk about Biden sends stingers, drones, machine guns, grenade launchers, and 20 million rounds of ammunition to the Ukraine. Now, Tammy brought this up last night on the show, or maybe it was the night before. I think it was the night before. Tammy is already ahead of this. She's seen all this. I'm bringing it up again because I want to tell you about the cost of this. President Joe Biden announced his decision to provide an additional $1 billion in military aid to the Ukraine on Wednesday. Now, Tammy had already put this out. She already told us about the money. She already told us about all the equipment that they're proposing to send to the Ukraine. This is just more money spent out of your pocket and mine. This comes out of our tax money, folks. We're so concerned about Ukraine, and we could care less about our southern border. Congress, let's see. Biden boasted of the unprecedented assistance he had prepared for Ukraine, thanking Congress for passing over $13 billion in aid to support funds of the conflict. The president has detailed an addition of $8 million in aid that the Ukraine, on top of the $300 million, is sent recent weeks to assist the fighting against the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, I'm bringing all this up. It goes into detail about how many stingers and how many anti-armor systems they've sent over, and it's in the hundreds, folks. This is just more and more stress on our already fragile economy. I mean, we've got high gas prices. We got supply chain issues. We got southern border issues. We got food supply issues, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. I'm just telling you that this is all compiling up. It's adding up. It's stacking up to something that could be very catastrophic for the United States. So we need to pay attention to this stuff. All right, the next headline: Biden sending billions to protect Ukraine borders after opposing, which means he did not agree with Trump's $15 billion for the U.S. border wall. Now, we're talking about this. We're talking about our southern border, how it's just open and people are flooding in. Last year alone in 2021, 1.9 million people crossed our border from the southern border of New Mexico into America. We have no idea. I think this year they estimated on track of over another 2 million people flooding our southern border. Well, you do the math, round up and say 2 million a year times a 4-year term of this administration. That's over 8 million people in 4 years under this administration coming into America unchecked. You know, you could round up as high as 10 million people. While spending nearly $14 billion to help Ukraine in its conflict with Russia, President Joe Biden fiercely opposed a similar amount for the border wall along the United States Mexico border to stem illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Now, I agree with people who say, well, Mike, putting a wall up is not going to stop them. You're right. It's not going to stop them, but it can help funnel them to certain sections of our southern border where now the border agents have an easier time dealing with it. It was proven during the Trump administration that that plan does work. It does not stop every person crossing the border. I'm a realist. I realize that that is impossible, but I do believe it slows the traffic. It really does. Let's hit the next headline here. AG Dana Nessel calls on Biden to shut down Michigan pipeline amidst a soaring gas prices. Okay, now Biden came in January 20th, and day one, he signed an executive order to cancel the Keystone pipeline. He also put restrictions on fracking here in this country. He pulled permits. There's a lot of things done by this administration to cripple our energy independence that we had during the Trump administration. Now we have a Michigan Attorney General, Dana Nessel, a Democrat, wants Biden administration to intervene in the dispute over the state's Line 5 oil pipeline and shut it down because it's keeping the pipeline open could result in an oil spill, she says. So, we have gas prices across this country that are not lower than $4 a gallon and as high as $7 to $8 a gallon, and now this attorney general wants to shut down yet another pipeline. What is that going to do to us, folks? What's that going to do to our economy? What's it going to do to inflation? What is it going to do to our fuel costs? I'm telling you guys, I'm prepped up. I went out this last week. I bought lots and lots of extra fuel for myself for the things that I need to get done, and I'm going to explain to you for here in just a minute. My house and my parents' house is all fueled by wood. That's how we cut our costs in wintertime. That's how we keep our house warm in winter. Well, if gas was to shoot up come June to $10 a gallon, I'm telling you right now, I would not be able to afford to go out to the woods, get my own wood, or pay somebody else to get the wood for me, which means come wintertime, I'm not going to be able to heat my house, nor would my parents. That's the type of prepping that I'm doing. It's not fear mongering. It's not freaking out. It's just common sense that while I can afford the gas, I'm going to get some extra and I'm going to store it for those occasions that I need. And that way, when gas prices get that high, if they get that high, I'm still capable of going out and taking care of my family. And that's what I encourage you guys. Um, Grow a garden this year, buy a little bit of silver, get some extra water, get some extra fuel. All of this is setting up for something that can be very disastrous to the United States. So I'm warning you guys. Let's hit the next headline. Deals with the same thing. Majority say Biden should prioritize increasing American energy production. A majority of Americans say Joe Biden should prioritize increasing American energy production in the weak and continuing rising gas prices, which Biden has blamed on both Russia and the gas and oil companies. If you remember, he made quotes saying that this is all um, it's all energy sector's fault. It's all the oil and gas companies. Ask them why they're raising high prices. I mean, You can't make this stuff up. In a wake of Russia's invasion of the Ukraine, do you believe President Joe Biden should make increasing American energy production a priority? That was the survey that was asked. In a vast majority, 77.3% said yes, while just 9.3% said no. I want to know who these 9.3% people are. Please show them to me so I can take a glove and slap them across the face and try to slap some common sense into their brains if they have one. What 9.3% of people think that it's not a good idea? You enjoy these high gas prices? They must have surveyed part of the 1% that said no. That's all I can tell you. All right, the next headline is more of the same. 71% of Americans favor Biden restarting the Keystone Pipeline. Now, we've talked about it a few times here on LWN. I've given you my opinion on what it would take to get that thing running. It's not something that I think can just flip the switch overnight and we're back up and running. Now, I did hear the Keystone Pipeline percentage of construction completion was right around 95%. If that is true, then yeah, it wouldn't take much to finish that pipeline. But it's still going to be added cost, just like the southern border wall. If they go back to construction of the southern border, the wall, it's going to cost more money than it did a year and a half ago when they were working under the administration of Trump. So it's going to be added cost. Do I think that they should at least consider that option? Absolutely. I think they should consider the option of reopening the Keystone Pipeline, finishing the construction, reopen fracking, pull the restrictions, and release the permits so that we can get back to energy independence. All right, last headline of today. This is concerning for me, folks. Another warning. Another warning. Sweden. Harvests could halt half due to lack of Russian fertilizers and manure. We've talked about this a couple of times here on Headline Hits. We've talked about how Russia does provide a certain percentage of fertilizer to the world. So does China. So does the Ukraine. Russia also provides DEF fluid. But I'm here to tell you, here in America, I've actually, as an industrial electrician, I have worked on fertilizer plants on the Utah and Nevada border. I have. There is fertilizer companies here in America. Now, can their production be beefed up and ramped up to supply fertilizers to the need not only here in America but around the world? One, I think we should focus on America first, help ourselves first, and then the world. But I don't know if they can produce that kind of fertilizer. I think that this will have an impact on our country and around the world. I think we're looking at a food shortage, a possible food shortage. Swedish farmers may be forced to reduce their harvests by as much as half due to the shortage of manure and fertilizer caused by the conflict in Ukraine, associated with the sanctions of war. Sweden is a highly dependent on import of manure since production all but ceased in the 2000s. Should be facing major agricultural issues due to the ongoing Russian invasion of the Ukraine, as Sweden imports between 15 to 20% of its manure from Russia. Like I said, to me, this is a warning for everybody. Pay attention to what is on the horizon. And like Glenn Beck said just a couple of days ago, don't rush out to the stores and try to buy everything on the shelf. When you go to the store, if you can afford to buy an extra can of food, buy that extra can of food. Put it in your pantry, shove it toward the back. When you use the second can, don't go into the pantry and grab the other one. Go back to the store and buy another one. And when you buy that one, buy a spare and then shove that one back in your pantry. And now you got two backups. Do a little bit at a time, a little increase as you can afford it when it makes sense. I buy extra loaves of bread and then I throw them in my freezer and I freeze them and I pull them out as needed. And that's how I stock up on some of my food reserves. And like I said earlier, Our greenhouses arrived this week. So my dad and I will be putting our greenhouses up here within the next probably 10 days. And then we're going to do all of our starters, our seeds, and get our starters going so that as soon as the snow is gone and the warm weather is here, we're ready to start planting our garden. Those are the things that I'm doing to make sure that my family is self sufficient in these hard times that we're looking at. I'm also looking at getting back into raising chickens. Just something that I read the other day about chicken farms around here have had diseases. They've had to destroy a lot of the chickens, which means egg production could very well take a hit. Um, Poultry in your grocery market, in your meat section, could take a hit. I know that they had to destroy 30,000 turkeys. That's taken a hit. So those are the things that I'm seeing on the horizon, and those are the things that I'm trying to make the best difference and the best decisions for my family. Be self-sufficient, stock up on canned goods. We are already making a family plan for my entire family to join together come fall time and can all of our garden food. We're going to can some meat. We're just really preparing for what could hit us, and I don't think it's a bad idea. Purchase silver, have a little bit of silver in your pocket. If you can't afford a lot of silver, go down to the nearest pawn shop. You're going to pay a higher premium. But if you can afford 25, 30 bucks, go buy a couple of silver coins just in case you need them. If you can afford more than that, then go to info@milesfranklin.com, code word Liberty Warrior Nation, and ask Andy and his team for a little bit of help. They can educate you, they can help you through the process. And I'm telling you, they have great customer service, and it is well worth your time and money to have just a little bit of security for you and your family. All right, that's headline hits for today, folks. I will not be back until Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, or no, it's noon. It's noon p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Headline Hits with LW. All right. God bless. Love you all. Have a great day. Don't forget, Ladies of Liberty tonight.